Welcome back to Market Headline. In the last 5 years, environmental, social, and governance, or ESG investing, has gone mainstream worldwide, but the Financial Services Authority stated awareness of the environmental, social, and corporate governance, or ESG, still needs to be improved in Indonesia. Chief Executive of Capital Market Supervision at OJK, Hosen, stated that the average value of the listed companies in Indonesia based on the results of the Asian Corporate Governance Scorecard assessment was 70, an increase of 63%. But still, awareness on good corporate governance and ESG in Indonesia is very weak. Therefore, OJK commits to improve the implementation of sustainable finance principles by issuing a sustainable finance roadmap. In line with that, OJK has issued Regulations number 51 concerning the implementations of sustainable finance for financial services institutions, issuers, and public companies. Indeed, OJK always support public companies in ESG index. From IDX side, IDX has released new index so-called as ESG leaders. There are 30 stocks that have a good environmental, social, and governance rating, which are not involved in insignificant controversy and have transaction liquidity and have a good financial performance. IDX Channel reported. The threat of ESG, which stands for environment, social, and good governance investment in the world, is increasing. In Asia alone, there are at least more than 5,000 investors who are interested in investing their funds in companies that promote sustainable principles or are ESG-based. You may be one of them. And to know more first thing first, we need to understand the core value of ESG itself. The explanations in the first graphic. Through the first graphic, we can see ESG stands for E for environmental, S for social, and G for governance. And here it is the core value of ESG investment. For environmental, it means about climate change, greenhouse gas emission, resource depletions, including water, waste and pollutions, deforestations. And meanwhile, to social, it is about working conditions, including slavery and child labor, local communities, including indigenous community, conflict regions, health and safety, employee relations, and diversity. And meanwhile, when we talk about governance, it has about executive pay, bribery, and corruption, political lobbying and donations, board diversity and structure, and tax strategy. And today, ESG is considered by some as an asset class and investment approach in its own rights. Investor motivations for pursuing ESG vary widely, ranging from the already mentioned moral and religious belief to regulatory and legislative requirements, public and client pressure, and economic reasons. Investment based on the ESG principle have shown a significant increase in Indonesia. Since it was first launched in 2014, the number of products and the amount of funds managed by ESG-themed mutual funds and ETFs has increased drastically. And see the detail in the next graphic. To the next graphic, we can see the managed fund of ESG investment in Indonesia. First thing first, we can see from 2017, there are around 253 billion rupiah in ESG investment. Meanwhile, the trend is increasing until 2020, that is reaching 3 trillion rupiah. And based on the data compiled by the Financial Services Authority as of December 2020, there are 14 ESG-based mutual funds and ETF products with a value managed reaching 3.062 trillion rupiah. And this figure increased dramatically compared to the previous year, which was around 1.7 trillion with only 10 products. But if we compare to other countries, Indonesia is still left behind. So let's see the top countries that implement ESG the most. Here it is. Through the next graphic, we can see ESG value within another countries. First thing first, we can see in 2016, we got Australia by 516 billion US dollar. Japan in 2016 by 474 billion US dollar. Meanwhile, US already got the benchmark by 8,723 billion US dollar. And meanwhile, European countries reaching 12,040 billion US dollar. But in 2018, all these countries managed to the ESG investment value increasingly dramatically. First of all, we can see that in European countries, green investment worth around 14 billion US dollar, and it takes up by 48.8% of the total investment. The global value of ESG investment has continued to increase significantly in the last 8 years, has become one of the triggers for many investors to be attracted to this investment model. So let's see the global trend of ESG investment in the next graphic. Here it is. We can see the value of global ESG investment. In 2012, it has the value of 11.35 trillion US dollar, but in 2018, the value went up significantly to be 30.7 trillion US dollar. It marked around 170.48% throughout 2012 to 2018. And in addition, Bloomberg has reported that the exchange-traded funds investing in companies focused on ESG practices brought in around 85 billion US dollar in US and Europe last year. Investments in sustainable products in Europe are expected to reach over 7.6 trillion euro by 2025. And the concept of ESG investment that does not only pursue profit but also pays attention to the benefits of businesses for the environment, society, and government can make the company's value increase significantly in the long term. And yes, viewers, we hope that sooner more Indonesian investors can pay attention to ESG's investments. Thus, investors continue to drive behavior towards more positive ESG outcomes. Stay with us because market headlines will be right back after this quick break.